Okay, we are not talking about the isolated instance, like, a ransomware happened in one particular organization. We are talking about a large volume. So this sheer volume of cyber attacks that is happening around the world, it is skyrocketing, right? So it's not just about quantity, it is also about the increasing sophistication of these attacks. They have changed. So we have advanced persistent threats, like this is actually about highly organized groups, like they are often state sponsored, and they carry out long-term stealthy campaigns to steal data or even to disrupt the critical infrastructure. Then we have, for the escalating cyber threats, I would say it is about the polymorphic malware, not the typical malware. So the polymorphic malware is the malware that constantly change its code to evade the detection. It's like the virus that mitigates in real life. So it makes it really difficult to combat such kind of attacks. That's one. That second one. And the third one, I would say, is about the ransomware on steroids. We say it like ransomware on steroids. So it's not just about locking up your data anymore. The typical ransomware attack is about locking your data and they ask for a ransom. Now we talk about ransomware on steroids. The steroid injection kind. So the attackers are, I think my projection, yeah. So the attackers, they how do you say, they exfiltrate the sensitive information before deploying the ransomware. So that make it become that creates an increase in the pressure to pay up.
Excuse me, ma'am, you can share the screen now, please.
Is it shared? Is my
No,
screen shared? Oh. I'm sorry. So I think this is the one. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yes, I was talking about the escalating cyber threats. Like, one is about, as I said, the advanced persistent threat. Then you have the polymorphic malware. Then you have the ransomware on steroids. So this is about, as I said, rather than locking up the data, just locking up data and asking for ransom, the attackers, what they do is they exfiltrate the sensitive information before they even deploy these the ransomware. So what happens in this case is it increases the pressure to their victim to pay up. That's we call it's like ransomware on steroids. Then we have another escalating cyber threats, I can say, is about attacks exploiting emerging technologies. So we talk about we are embracing artificial intelligence, IoT, cloud computing, and as we are embracing these emerging technologies like AI, IoT, and cloud computing, the criminals are right there with us. They are moving along with us. They find new ways to exploit these technologies for malicious gain. So if I have to summarize this escalating cyber threats, I would say I would talk about the real threat, which is real. It's evolving rapidly and it is impacting all organizations, irrespective of the sizes, across different sectors. It could be healthcare, education, any sectors, critical infrastructures. So in this case, it demands an urgent attention and underscores the critical importance of cybersecurity research. So we're going to talk about different components of cybersecurity and emerging technologies that we can have a major focus on research. The next part I would like to focus is about the evolving threat landscape. So we talk about ransomware, AI-driven attacks. We have seen AI-driven attacks a lot in social media and everywhere. Then we have state-sponsored espionage, especially targeting the country. And we can say the game is changing. So if you remember, I don't know whether you could remember, if you remember the days where virus was just one virus, it was just messing up a computer, for example, that was some years back. So the threat landscape, it has changed or evolved from beyond those early days. So today's cyber criminals, they are armed with advanced tools and they have tactics, the advanced tactics, and it constantly innovate to stay ahead of defenses. When we bring security measures, even the cyber criminals, they are having the tactics to defend that. We talk about ransomware. So this, I will call this as a lucrative criminal enterprise ransomware. It's not just about, as I said, locking data anymore. It's about extortion when we talk about ransomware. So attackers, they are targeting critical infrastructure. When I say critical infrastructure, I mean also targeting, the central electricity or central water or telecommunication. These are the organizations I mean by infrastructure critical. And of course, attackers, they're also targeting different essential services and even individuals. They're not just targeting organizations alone. They are also targeting ransomware for targeting certain individuals. And they demand really hefty ransoms. And this is causing a big disruption in general. So if you think of AI as evolving threat in the evolving threat landscape, we can call AI as a double-edged sword. I'm sure you agree with me, because AI, of course, it has the benefits, the one side of it. So when we explore the potential of AI for good, cyber criminals, they are already leveraging to create more sophisticated attacks. You can use AI for creating attacks. You have AI-powered phishing campaigns this is normally used for autonomous malware that can learn and adapt. So that is a new trend right now. So those who are using AI, they have to know both the side of the sword. That is, one is, of course, you can use AI for several purposes. You can use AI for predicting diseases. You can use AI. We have autonomous vehicle with AI integration. At the same time, when we are developing technology using AI, on the other hand, the cyber criminals are also creating AI-powered crimes. Is everything okay? Okay. So the fourth part in evolving threat landscape, I think I could hear some disturbance. Is it fine? Okay, the fourth part I would like to say is about the rise of state-sponsored espionage. So when we talk about espionage, it's a cyber warfare, and it's no longer like a science fiction, what you see when you think about the espionage or cyber warfare. It's happening. Nation states, they are increasingly engaging, in cyber espionage. They're targeting government agencies, again, critical infrastructure and private companies. And why do they want to do this? They want to steal the data, the confidential data. They want to disrupt operations. They want to gain some kind of strategic advantage on organizations or government agencies. So they have motives behind this kind of espionage. When we talk about espionage, we talk about the state side, the country side. So the cybersecurity landscape is fluid and unpredictable. It just go on, it's like, I would say it's like a fluid, and it is unpredictable to say what is going to happen next. So staying ahead of these evolving threats, you need to have a continuous research. So those who are focusing about research and you want to learn about this, what you want to focus on the research of this particular domain, it's a lot. And with the help of AI, it is just, you have lots of areas to research on. So you need to require continuous research, you need to have continuous innovation and continuous collaboration. The next part is the real world impact. Cyber attacks, they affect individuals. We have seen that. I don't say just attacks which are in large. We do have cyberbullying, extortion. You have ransomware, phishing, malware. There are so many attacks that is catfishing. We have AI-based attacks happening, catfishing attacks. So it's a lot. So these cyber attacks, they affect individuals, they affect business, they affect even our national security on a global scale. So the high cost of inaction. So I must say that cyber attacks hit home now. So it means that cyber attacks are not just abstract threats. They have tangible consequences and they are creating a ripple effect across the society. Just see the cases of different attacks. If you see, you will see that in your society or in my society, it has created a ripple effect. So we cannot say cyber attacks are some kind of threats and we put it aside. No, they're not just an abstract threats. They're creating tangible consequences. That is, you have impacts that is happening in real life. So let's see what kind of impact it can bring up. Let's talk about the individuals ourselves, right? So imagine you're losing access to your bank account, your email account, having your identity stolen, or becoming a victim of cyberbullying. Just imagine, probably you're not a victim so far. So there are several individuals, they are already a victim of cyberbullying or many other, right? So there are many examples like this where the cyber attacks, they have devastated the individuals, leading to one, of course, financial loss, they get emotional distress, they get reputational damage, and at times it even lead to taking up their life. So that is on the impact on the individuals. So the real world impact on individual, of course, is really high. We talk about business now. Let's see the real world impact on businesses. Like, from small scale business, you have to Fortune 500 companies. No organization, they can say that they are immune to the cripple effect of cyber attacks. No. From small scale business to Fortune 500 companies, no organization, they are immune to the crippling effect of cyber attacks. Data breaches, it can result in the loss of, whenever you see a data breach, of course, we mean to say you lose sensitive information, you're having regulatory fines, legal battles, then you have irreparable damage to a company's reputation and customer trust and ending up in closure. Remember, a business, when it is affected by a cyber attack, it is not easy for them to come out and just get starting. That's why we have cyber resilience. Unfortunately, some companies, it goes for a closure because of the damage to their reputation. And of course, they have lost customers' trust. So it is quite difficult for these organizations to bring back this trust to them. What about national security as the next real world impact? So national security, it is, of course, it is an increasingly interconnected world. Cyber attacks, it has significantly threatened national security. You take the wars that war happening, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, Israel war, we do have cyber attacks which are related to that. So attacks on critical infrastructure like power grid, financial institutions, government agencies, and this is going to disrupt all your services that are essential. And it can even undermine national stability. Okay, let's put an example. Right now we are on a platform, Zoom. I'm speaking to you from another country. So just imagine your telecommunication infrastructure in Sri Lanka is affected by a cyber attack. Or electricity, the central electricity is being attacked. So these are critical infrastructure which we cannot afford to take a chance, because a failure in one could be a failure affecting undermining the whole national stability. So these kind of attacks, it has a larger impact. I don't say that an attack on an individual is not that important. Of course, it has its own value. But when we talk about national security, it has a major impact when there is a cyber attack. So if I have to encompass the whole thing, the impact of cyber attack is like far-reaching and it is profound. It is affecting individuals, as I said, it is affecting businesses, national, globally, internationally. You take any country, somewhere they are affected by these cyber attacks. So addressing this challenge in research, it requires a collective effort. So with cybersecurity research playing, I would say, a pivotal role in developing innovative solutions to mitigate these risks could be the next step. So I move to the next slide. Okay, let's see some driving into the emerging trends. So I think I moved too far. Yes, that's the one. Okay, we have the first one driving into emerging trends. I would say it is AI and machine learning. I'm sure some of you have already got some information about, or you already know about AI little, you heard about them, right? So artificial intelligence, as I said earlier, it is a double-edged sword. And it can be used for both defense and offense. You can use them for defending the attacks, or also you can create offenses. So ethical consideration for using emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning, it is a paramount. So it is actually, I would say, it is a cybersecurity arms race. So the age of intelligent machine is here now. The artificial intelligence and machine learning, they're no more like a futuristic concept. We say in the future. A few years back, we used to say in the future. I won't say it is futuristic now. It is happening, right? So they are actively shaping the cybersecurity landscape for better and for worse as well. I won't say it's only better. So let's see, what if we use AI as a powerful defender? So how do we use them as a powerful defender? So one is, you can use AI as a powerful defender for threat detection and response. You can use them for threat detection, cyber threat detection. You can even use them for responding to the threat, right? So AI-powered security system, it can analyze a large amount of data in real time. That's the beauty of AI. And why do we use them is to detect the threat and to respond to the threat faster than a human can do. That's one of the major advantage of AI in cybersecurity, because the threat, if you say one person attacking, that's fine, or two or three attacks coming, that's fine. But what if we are having an attack which is a denial of service attack, which is in 10,000 to 100,000 attacks in one go? So one way, instead of a human handling the attacks and identifying the threat, or even the traditional method of identifying using firewall and those parametric method, we can go for AI, which can be one of the powerful defender. Now, AI as a powerful defender, it can also be used for vulnerability scanning and patching. This is one of the best. And AI, what it can automate the process of identifying the security holes and also fixing these security holes in software and also in systems. You can use AI as a powerful defender for predictive analysis. You can, you can analyze the historical threat data and patterns that has happened in the past. So AI can help predict the future attacks, and it can bring in to proactively strengthen the defenses. Now, this is AI as a powerful defender. As I said, it is a double-edged sword. So AI, if it's in the wrong hands, let's see what happens. So let's see AI-powered cyber attacks. So cyber criminals, the same like the way we use AI, cyber criminals also use AI to develop more sophisticated malware and evasive malware. So they launch automated phishing campaigns. They can even bypass biometric authentication system. So it's quite easy for them to do that. What about deepfake and disinformation? We have this. We have seen deepfake images of, many people, especially targeting celebrities and many famous people. So AI-generated deepfakes can spread misinformation. It looks so similar to real. Until and unless we know how to identify whether it is fake or real. But in real life, it's quite difficult for us to having a picture or a video in our hand, and we tend to have a doubt in our mind to think that this is not real, this is fake. I don't think we do, we think in that way. So deepfakes AI generated deepfakes, it can spread misinformation, it can manipulate public opinion, and it can even erode trust in institutions. Of course, you can bring in, detection and say that it is deepfake, but by then, the harm has already been done. The public, some of them, they trust what is being said as the defensive way. Some they don't. They still believe the deepfake information to be true. So this is where we have ethical imperative, bias in algorithm. So AI system, I can say they are only as good as the data they are trained on. Otherwise, it's nothing. So biased data can lead to discriminatory outcomes, raising concerns about fairness and equity in AI-driven security solutions. It is there, it is happening. So it depends the team or the who has developed the algorithm. It depends upon the biased data they have been fed. So if the biased data has been fed, the data that is fed is biased, then that is surely going to go for a discriminatory outcome. It is going to raise concern about fairness and equity. So we need ethical, we know that there is a big ethical concern that is in the picture. What about autonomous weapon systems? So the development of, the AI-powered autonomous weapon system. This race, you have lots of autonomous weapon systems right now, which is developed using AI. Now, this raised profound ethical questions about accountability, human control, and the potential for unintended consequences. You take AI-powered vehicles, it can create accidents. Whom do we blame at? Do we blame the car? Do we blame the creator? Are we going to blame the AI? So who is going to be accountable for this development of AI-powered autonomous weapon system and when it goes for unintended consequences? So this is where ethics come in the picture of development. So when we are bringing some technology, ethics should be part of it. So artificial intelligence and machine learning, of course, they are really powerful tools with the potential to revolutionize the whole cybersecurity. However, it's crucial to address the ethical implications while developing the system and also ensure that these technologies, they are developed and used in a responsible manner. Next, we see about the threat intelligence and prediction under driving emerging trends. That is one I would focus. That is, this I would like you to give more importance, especially right now in this time of the research. We are shifting from reactive to proactive security. We no more talk about the reactive security. We are talking about the proactive security. So data analytics and threat intelligence, they are going to be the one key to staying ahead. So we need to outsmart the enemy. So, the power of threat intelligence and prediction, it plays a major role in outsmarting the enemy. You take the old way, like you're fighting fires. Like, for too long, cybersecurity, it has been reactive. That means we wait for an attack to happen, then scramble to contain the damage. We find a solution or we apply some solutions for the attack happened. And this approach is no longer sustainable in today's rapidly evolving threat landscape, because we don't know what kind of threat can come. It can be any time with new unexpected behaviors, right? So we move for the new paradigm that we call them as the proactive security. So threat intelligence and prediction are about getting ahead of the curve. So it's about knowing your enemy, anticipating their moves, and building defense before it even strike. So we need to talk about the data analytics. You need to connect the dot. So we live in this world of huge data, and threat intelligence, it leverages advanced data analytics to sift through this, the vast ocean of information, identifying patterns, trends, and anomalies that could signal and, the major attacks. So when we talk about threat intelligence, we talk about the threat intelligence platforms. your eyes and ears on the ground. So these platforms gather information from a variety of sources. You can gather from open source intelligence, OSINT. You can gather from dark web monitoring. You can gather from industry collaboration so why do we gather all this information? So that it can provide you a comprehensive view of the threat landscape. We need information. We cannot have information only coming from surface web. You need information from the open source intelligence, yes, dark web, industry collaboration, all these informations, they are going to give us a comprehensive view of the threat landscape. Otherwise, we are going to have a biased decision-making. So then for another part, what that I would like to address is the predictive modeling, anticipating the next move. We should anticipate, at least have some kind of idea what the next move could be. So how can we have this approach implemented? One method is by analyzing historical attack data and emerging trends. So we need to constantly focus on the emerging trends and the historical attack data to study them. And the predictive models, they can help organizations to anticipate future threats and proactively strengthen their defense. This is where we need to focus our research mainly on predictive modeling. That is, you analyze historical attack data, and also along with that, the emerging trends. Of course, you do have this historical attack data. And by the time you're focusing on a particular trend or particular technology with the historical data, there's a new technology that is coming in the picture. So it is important, parallelly, along with the historical attack data and the emerging trends, we analyze and bring up the predictive models so that this can help the organization to anticipate certain future threats. And they can proactively strengthen their defenses with this kind of methods. So in the ongoing battle against cybercrime, I'm sure you agree with me, knowledge is power. So threat intelligence and prediction, it empower organizations to move from a reactive threat detection or a solution given to a proactive, secure posture. And this makes the organization or even individual to stay one step ahead of the attackers. Okay, this is the way we say. Of course, even attackers, they follow the same path. Then we talk about the Internet of Things security. You have heard about Internet of Things, IoT devices, smart homes, smart devices, smart buildings, smart city. So it is a hyper-connected world that brings unique vulnerabilities when we talk about IoT security. So if we want to focus research on security in IoT security, we are talking about research focusing on securing devices, that is IoT devices, and also the network that is bringing that IoT infrastructure. So securing the invisible threats that connect our world. So because when you talk about IoT, we are talking about the invisible threats. We don't know how they are connected, right? So one is I would focus on is the explosion of the connected devices. Like, you have the smart refrigerator from this particular smart refrigerator or smart, washing machine to the connected cars. The IoT or the Internet of Things is rapidly expanding. It's connecting billions of devices worldwide. And due to this hyperconnectivity brings convenience and efficiency. Remember, it creates an unprecedented attack surface for criminals. There are many reasons why we have this as unprecedented attack surface for cyber criminals. Mainly, it has the unique vulnerabilities of IoT. This one unique vulnerability. So unlike your traditional computers, IoT devices, they lack basic security features. Like it become an easy target for attackers. There are many challenges that make it become an easy target. One is lack of standardization. The IoT landscape is it's fragmented. Like with countless manufacturers, you have several security protocols, making it difficult to implement consistent security measures. We have resource constraints, like many IoT devices that you see, they have limited processing power and memory. So that becomes challenging to run complex security software on these kind of devices. It works on sensors, right? And some sensors, their lifetime is very small. Then another factor that I would say is the remote access and control. So the ability to remotely access and controlling IoT devices. Of course, it's convenient. At the same time, it opens potential avenue for unauthorized access and manipulation. Because if you can remotely control your home network, that's a smart home or smart devices or smart, anything that is IoT based, even the attackers can manipulate them. So you have to remember that remote access and control has a major impact on IoT-based security. So research focus is on securing devices and networks. We can focus on device level security. So what kind of research can you do in this kind of aspect? We can develop lightweight security protocols. We can have a secure boot processors. We can have over-the-air update mechanism to harden individual IoT device against attack. The next research focus that I would say for securing IoT devices and network, I would say the network security itself. So we can implement robust network segmentation, intrusion detection system, and more advanced and encryption protocols to protect IoT networks from unauthorized access and, of course, data breaches. What about data protection? That is, of course, one of the major research focus for securing devices and networks. So when we talk about data protection, we are talking about ensuring confidentiality, integrity, availability of data generated, and data transmitted by IoT devices, both in transit and at rest. Remember, when an IoT device is vulnerable, the data transmitted and data generated, whether it is in transit or at rest, it is vulnerable for attacks. So as our world becomes increasingly interconnected with IoT, it is just moving on with IoT devices, connecting all over the world with IoT devices. Securing these devices and network is no longer an option for us. It is compulsory, or I must say it is essential. So cybersecurity research in this aspect, it plays a vital role in addressing the unique challenges of IoT security to make sure we have a safer and more resilient digital future. So we talk about, let's see about cloud security. That's again, one of the factors that can drive into the emerging trend. So we as an individual, as an organization, business, or even nationwide, we are migrating to the cloud. So understanding and mitigating cloud-specific threat is one of the topmost one. So we want to navigate the risk of a cloudy future. I would say cloudy future, yes. So the inevitable cloud migration, business, you take business, even individuals, like they are migrating in a fast method, their data and applications to the cloud. People are no more interested to have the application to be in their system. They want it to be in the cloud and to be accessed. So this enticed by scalability, cost effectiveness, and accessibility. So that make it easier for the business and for the individuals. But this shift from migrating from the traditional way of working to cloud, it also introduced new security challenges. So we need to understand there are certain cloud-specific threats which are different. So you take data breach in cloud. So cloud environment, they often store large amount of data, of sensitive data, and make them the prime target for cyber criminals who are seeking financial gain or even espionage. What about cloud that is misconfigured and shared responsibility? When you have misconfiguration and shared responsibility, cloud security, of course, it is a shared responsibility between the cloud provider and the customer, right? So misconfiguration by either of them, it could be either the customer has misconfigured or the cloud provider, cloud service provider. Either of them, if it is there's a misconfiguration by either of the party, it can create vulnerabilities that attackers can exploit. So this is one factor we need to think about when we talk about cloud-specific threats. The next part of cloud-specific threat that what you have to understand is the insider threats. While not unique to the cloud, insider threat can be particularly damaging the entire cloud environment. So where malicious insiders may have access to sensitive data and critical system, that can be one of the major threats. And of course, you can have another threat, I would say, is denial of service attacks. So cloud service, they rely on network availability. So what if denial of service attack happens? So if this attack happens, it can disrupt the operation of the in cloud, leading to financial loss and reputational damage. So we access many information through cloud for many work to be executed. Now, how can we, our next step for this particular presentation is how to mitigate these risks. What is the research behind that you can focus on in cybersecurity for emerging trends like this? How do we mitigate these kind of cloud risks? One is strong access control. So we can implement robust authentication mechanisms like multi-factor authentication, not just two-factor authentication. You can have multiple layers for authentication. To restrict access to sensitive data and system, you can have two-factor authentication plus biometric to make it even stronger. Why not mitigation through data encryption? Another cloud risk mitigation that research can focus is on data encryption. Like, it can encrypt the data both in transit and also at rest so that it protects it from unauthorized access, even if a data breach occurs. Then maybe securing security monitoring and threat intelligence. So we can leverage the advanced security information and event management tools and threat intelligence feeds to detect and respond to threat in real time. I think that could be another research focus. Next, mitigation risk research focus, I would say, is regular security assessments and penetration testing. Find out new ways to do that. So conducting regular security assessment and penetration testing is one way to identify remedies. I must say, to remediate the vulnerabilities before the attackers can exploit them. That has to be in the pipeline. So as we embrace the cloud, we don't have choice, we have to move for that. So it is crucial to prioritize cloud security. So by understanding the unique threats and implementing robust security measures, we can harness the power of the cloud while mitigating the risk. The next emerging trend, which is quite in spoken right now, is quantum computing and cybersecurity. Quantum computing could break your current encryption, whatever encryption you have right now that we talk about in cryptography, it can break them. So research into quantum resistant cryptography is becoming more essential. So this is the coming storm. We talk about cybersecurity, cybercrime, cyber attack, but then the next coming storm in cybersecurity is the quantum computing. So the quantum threat. So while still, though it is in its early stage, quantum computing has the potential to revolutionize many fields. You can use quantum computing to revolutionize fields like cybersecurity itself. However, this revolution, it cuts both ways. Once, if you develop this, large-scale quantum computers will possess the power to break the entire cryptographic algorithm, which is currently protecting our data. You take the entire worldwide system, it is protected by the strong cryptographic algorithm. The time we develop the large-scale quantum computing, that's going to be a big risk. So it is important to identify the quantum threat. What about encryption at risk? Many widely used encryption methods, you have RSA, you have ECC, they rely on mathematical problems, and they are difficult for classical computers to solve, and they relatively, it becomes easy for quantum computers. That means sensitive data protected by these mathematical methods and cryptographic encryption methods, they are going to become a vulnerable point. We talk about the rise of quantum resistant cryptography. So the good news is that researchers, they are already hard at work developing new cryptographic algorithms, not just sticking onto the old ones, and which can resist attacks from both classical computers and also from quantum computers. Of course, it is still ongoing process, the development. So this field, quantum computing and quantum resistant cryptography, is known as the post-quantum cryptography, or another word is quantum resistant cryptography. I repeat again, either we say that post-quantum cryptography or quantum resistant cryptography. That's the one in front. So we have a call for action, right? The transition to quantum resistant cryptography is not something that you can afford to postpone. You can't say, let's postpone to future. It is coming, right? So what is the next call for action? First is standardization. We need to have international collaboration and the establishment of new cryptography standards, and which are crucial to ensure a smooth and secure transition. The next call for action is implementation. Organizations, they need to start planning now for the migration to quantum resistant solutions to protect their data and system in a post-quantum world, because it's coming soon. What about awareness? We talk about quantum resistant cryptography. People are not aware, individuals are not aware, business, they are not aware. So awareness in this topic, raising awareness about the quantum threat and the importance of quantum resistant cryptography is becoming more important. Not just cybersecurity, we need to talk about this as well. So quantum computing, it presents both a significant threat and an opportunity for cybersecurity. So when you invest in research, development and proactive planning, you can, you can mitigate the risk and harness the power of this transformative technology, at the same time safeguarding our digital future. Of course, it requires hefty research involved in this particular field. The last part in driving the emerging trend is the human factor. We cannot deny the fact about the human. So you heard about social engineering, and this remains a potential weapon. So research focuses on improving cybersecurity behaviors and build resilient system. So we are aiming a human firewall, that is by strengthening cybersecurity's weakest link. Remember, human remains the weakest link in the cybersecurity chain. So we need to create that human firewall. So humans, the easiest target. So while we have made strides in fortifying our digital defenses, social engineering, it remains a scamming. All this remains a potential weapon for cyber criminals. What is the main reason? Because it's easier to exploit human vulnerabilities by trust, helpfulness, fear, than to crack a complex technical system. So social engineering, I would say it is the art of manipulation. So social engineering attacks, it comes in many forms, like, you have seen them. You would have heard about that, from phishing email designed to steal confidential credential to sophisticated phone scams, AI-based scams that trick individuals into revealing sensitive information. Although we have done lots of awareness courses or awareness programs, still we can see that human remain the vulnerable factor. What about beyond the technical solution? Strong passwords and firewall, of course, they are important for the securing the system, but they are not enough. We need to address the human element of cybersecurity, the training, the awareness, make them aware about the issues that come up due to the wrong usage or a wrong way of handling the system. So if I have to say the research focus for this particular factor, it is to build a human firewall. We can say about cybersecurity awareness training, educate users about common social engineering tactics that's happening, how to spot them, and how to respond effectively. That's very important. Of course, we don't stop at training someone at one point. It's not a one spot go. It is a continuous training process. So awareness training is always a continuous process. What about behavioral science and nudge theory? You can apply insights from behavioral science to design security systems and processes that can encourage secure behavior. Resilient systems. We can develop systems you can have research done for developing systems that are more resilient to human error. For example, by implementing multi-factor authentication to mitigate the risk of phishing attacks. We can have some kind of methods to mitigate the risk of phishing attacks by implementing multi-factor authentication. Why not create a new research which focuses on the culture of security? We can foster a culture of security within any organization. You take your organization at the University of Jaffna, whichever university is participating right now, where the employees and students or any organization, they feel empowered to report suspicious activity and prioritize cybersecurity best practices. I think this is what is lacking right now, the culture of security. We see that there is an alarming there's a notification that is alarming you. Many times we just click on the cross and close the application. We never see why it happens. Maybe few. They try to investigate what is the reason. Otherwise, in general, people still let it go. So it is important to foster a culture among individuals and also within organization where people, they feel empowered to report suspicious activity and also to prioritize cybersecurity best practices. So technology alone, of course, it cannot solve the cybersecurity challenge. You can have the best technology, having the cybersecurity, solutions. By understanding the human factor, investing in research, promoting a culture of security, then you can build more resilient system. Then you can empower individuals to become effective human firewall. Otherwise, bringing just a cybersecurity solution, this will never help because human factors still remain a high vulnerable factor. So we move to the next one, driving cybersecurity research. Let's see the methodologies and approaches. So we focus on the interdisciplinary collaboration. Like, you talk about computer scientists, data scientists, social scientists, legal experts, policymakers, they all should work together. So we can say cybersecurity like a team sport. So cybersecurity is expanding landscape. Cybersecurity threats are no longer just confined to some kind of technical realm. They have far-reach social, economical, legal, and political implications. So it is important to know the limits of siloed approaches, like, address these multifaceted challenges that requires more than just technical expertise. We need computer science. We know that computer scientists, they cannot solve problems rooted in human behavior, legal loopholes, or policy gaps. They can solve problems that is related to computer or cybersecurity or IoT or AI. But when it comes to human behavior, legal loopholes, or policy gaps, they cannot do anything. So there's a limit of that's called as siloed approaches. What about the power of interdisciplinary collaboration? So bringing together experts like from diverse fields, like it is very important to develop a comprehensive and effective cybersecurity solution. So there are many factors that we need to consider. So in this perception, we need many people like computer scientists. They can provide technical expertise in areas like cryptography, network security, and vulnerability analysis. What about data scientists? We can bring in data scientists. They can analyze huge data sets to identify patterns. They can analyze to detect anomalies. They can also analyze to predict future threats. So we need social scientists now. Social scientists, we need them to provide insight into human behavior, risk perception, and social factor that can influence the cybersecurity decision making. Otherwise, it's going to be purely technical, just having computer scientists and data scientists. So we talk about social scientists. Irrespective of all this, one factor that make a big change is the legal expert, because we need that team to navigate the complex legal landscape of cybersecurity that include privacy regulation, data breach notification laws, and even the international agreements. And not but the least, policymakers. So they have to develop and implement effective cybersecurity policies, regulations, and standards. We need policymakers as the team player. There are many real-world examples that highlight successful interdisciplinary initiatives like, Cybersecurity Research Center. Here, experts from different fields, they collaborate on cutting-edge research projects. Then we have government and industry partnerships. This particular partnership, they bring together the public and private sectors to share information and to develop best practices. Then we have international collaboration to address cross-border cyber threats and harmonizing cybersecurity policies. We have international collaboration. So these are different real-world examples that we have. So if I have to encapsulate, cybersecurity, it is a shared responsibility and it demands a multidisciplinary approach. So by fostering collaboration among computer scientists, data scientists, social scientists, legal experts, and policymakers, we can create a more secure and resilient digital world. So the next driving cybersecurity research for method and approach, I would say, is about the open source intelligence and data sharing. To understand the threat landscape, you require leveraging OSINT or open source intelligence and also to foster data sharing. So this is connecting the dots, OSINT and data sharing for a safer digital world. It is important to know the power of knowing your enemy. So in cybersecurity, knowledge is power. The more we understand about current threat and also the emerging threat, the better equipped we are to defend against them. So open source intelligence, I call that as a gold mine of information. OSINT refers to information gathered from publicly available sources. When I say OSINT, I mean to say publicly available sources like social media, where you can, you can monitor social media platform for chatter related to cyber attacks, data breach, and vulnerabilities to get information. What about news articles and blogs? You can stay informed about the latest cybersecurity incidents, trends, and research from the news articles you have on open source and blogs. Sorry. Then we have the dark web forums. So it is important when we talk about the gold mine of information about open source intelligence, the dark web forums, like where you can gather intelligence on cyber criminal activities, tactics, and targets that is happening in the dark web. And also the technical sources. We need to analyze code repositories, vulnerability databases, and security advisories. So that's about the open source intelligence. Now, when we talk about data sharing, this is about breaking down the silos. So cybersecurity, as I said, is a team spirit. So sharing threat intelligence and best practices among organizations, government, and researchers is crucial. One is for early warning, like you can detect and respond to threat more quickly using the data sharing by breaking down these silos. You can improve threat analysis, like gaining a more comprehensive understanding of attack patterns and motives. Collective defense, you can strengthen overall cybersecurity posture by sharing knowledge and resources. Of course, when we talk about all this data sharing and OSINT, next thing what come in the picture is the challenges and considerations. So, data privacy. If you think about challenges and consideration, data privacy, balancing the need for data sharing with the protection of sensitive information is crucial. Data verification, we have to ensure that the accuracy and the reliability of the OSINT sources. Of course, OSINT is taking from internet, from social media, and other sources. But what is important, what is challenging is the verification of the data. Can we rely on them? Can we ensure that the information that OSINT sources are bringing, they're accurate and they're reliable? And also another challenge, what I would say, is the information overload. Developing effective strategies for managing and analyzing vast amount of data is quite challenging. And I think that is another research factor that we can focus on. So leveraging OSINT and fostering data sharing, they are essential for staying ahead of the curve in cybersecurity. By tapping into the collective wisdom of the security community, you can create a more secure and resilient digital world. Not to forget, next driving cybersecurity research method and approach, I would say, is about the ethical hacking and penetration testing. Well, proactively identifying vulnerabilities before malicious actors exploit them. That's our aim, right? So we're going to turn the table, ethical hacking and penetration testing. So it's like flipping the script. So in the world of cybersecurity, sometimes the best of offense is a good defense. I repeat again, best offense is a good defense. So that's where ethical hacking and penetration testing come in. So ethical hackers, the good guys, the ethical hackers are cybersecurity professionals who use their skills, what they have learned in ethical hacking, to find vulnerabilities, to fix the vulnerabilities before these attackers, they can exploit them. So they operate with permission and within the legal and ethical boundaries. So we have penetration testers. So penetration testing, what do we do in penetration testing is it's a controlled attack. So penetration testing, it is a simulated cyber attack. It is designed to assess the security of a system or network. So think of it like a controlled burn in forestry. It help prevents larger fire by eliminating potential fuel sources. So there are benefits of proactive security, identify and mitigate vulnerabilities, like ethical hacking and penetration testing. They can help organizations to uncover weaknesses in their system before they can be exploited. We can strengthen the defense using the proactive security by identifying and addressing the vulnerabilities. Organization, they can strengthen the overall security posture and reduce their attack surface. What about compliance requirement? Many industries, they have regulatory requirements, like for regular penetration testing to ensure that the security of sensitive data. Peace of mind, that's something major, right? Knowing that your system have been tested by skilled professionals provides valuable peace of mind. Just ask yourself, do you have peace of mind with your system right now in hand, your mobile phones, your laptops? Are you secured? Are you feeling secured using these devices? Ask yourself the question. Do you feel secured having these devices in possession? Can you guarantee that you were never attacked in the past? Or can you guarantee that right now your system is not being attacked? Totally no, it's difficult to do that, right? So it is important to focus on research that can bring strength, that can strengthen our defense, that has compliance requirements, that brings in the peace of mind. So ethical hacking and penetration testing, they are another essential component for a robust cybersecurity strategy. So by proactively identifying the vulnerabilities and mitigating these vulnerabilities, many organizations, whether it's private or public organization, they can stay one step ahead of cyber criminals and protect their valuable assets. So you can see that there is a long list to focus on the cybersecurity emerging trend research. Now it is time to call for the action shaping a secure digital future. So we need to invest in research and education. We cannot just talk about research, the emerging trends, and we don't invest on that. So this is to support the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. If you want to build the future for this aspect, we need to invest in cybersecurity research and also in cybersecurity education. We take cybersecurity talent gap. It is a growing crisis. I'm sure you all have heard about job requirement in cybersecurity. The demand for skilled cybersecurity professionals it is outstripping the supply. We don't have that many cybersecurity professionals in the market. So this shortage, it leaves organization vulnerable and it hinders our collective ability to address evolving cyber threats. You can ask about your own university whether your system are cyber safe or not. So I'm sure you will see that you do have the cybersecurity talent gap. You do have attack surface, vulnerable attack surfaces. So we need to focus on building the future by investing in cybersecurity research and education. One is a multifaceted investment. Like, you can secure our digital future. It requires I would say it requires a two-pronged approach. One is fueling the innovation through research. That is, we need to invest in cutting edge research so that we can stay ahead of the emerging threats. And what are these investment? One is AI and machine learning as the main focus. We can develop AI-powered security tools for threat detection, analysis, and response. We can have quantum computing security. You can prepare for the security implications of quantum computers, which could potentially break the current encryption algorithm. So we have research focus on that. Human-centered security. We can conduct research to better understand human behavior and develop more effective security awareness training program. That is more like tailor-made awareness program. The next part for focusing is about empowering the next generation. So we need to equip the next generation with the skills. You're in an education organization, so you do have schools and colleges and universities. So it is important to equip the next generation with skills and knowledge to become cybersecurity leaders. So how do we do that? It includes expanding the access to education. We need to support the cybersecurity program at all levels of education, from secondary school to higher, maybe in the lower level to higher education, and even for vocational training. We can develop industry relevant curriculum. You can ensure that cybersecurity education program, it aligns with the latest industry needs and trends. We can promote diversity and inclusion. Don't forget about that. Encouraging greater diversity in the cybersecurity workforce. You can bring a wide range of perspectives and experiences in the field. Now, it is a shared responsibility. Addressing cybersecurity skill gap is not just the responsibility of, we don't say that it is the responsibility of the government or educational institutions. Business, organization, and you as individual, you all have a role to play in supporting research, in supporting education, and supporting workforce development initiatives. So if I have to encompass the whole idea, it is investing in cybersecurity research and education is not just an expense, it is an investment in our collective security and prosperity. So by supporting the next generation of cybersecurity professionals, we can create a safer and more resilient digital world for everyone. What about advocating for stronger policies? We have to push for robust cybersecurity policies and international collaboration, especially to enhance global cybersecurity resilience. This includes advocating for stricter data privacy regulations, to harmonize incident reporting standards, to cross-border information sharing agreements. All this matters. So by working together at the policy level, we can build a more cohesive and effective defense against evolving cyber threats. The next part I would say is to embrace individual responsibility. So everyone has a role to play in maintaining a secure digital world. We can't say it is the role of the government or anyone else, it's us, right? So while organizations and governments, they have a responsibility to implement these robust cybersecurity measures, we as an individual, we have to bear that significant role in protecting ourselves and our environment and contributing to a more secure digital ecosystem. So this includes coming to cyber hygiene. That is, you need to practice a good cyber hygiene, so that like using strong unique password, enabling two-factor or multi-factor authentication. You have to have the hygiene to be cautious of phishing attempts and identifying the phishing attempts, and keeping software and devices up to date. You can ask yourself, do you update your system and software every time? I don't say your mobile phones. I mean, also your laptops or your computers. So if we can cultivate a culture of individual cybersecurity awareness and responsibility, we can empower each person to be an active participant to secure the cyber world. So I think that is the main research focus I wanted to explore today to the audience. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I cannot hear you all.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
I'm going to be at the end of the session. We would be honored to extend our gratitude to Dr. Shiva Arvind because of the time, proficiency, and effort in guiding our attendees through the topic emerging strength in cybersecurity research. Dear Madam, please accept this virtual token of appreciation in recognition of your valuable and exceptional presentation and generous commitment for the session. Thank you for joining us, Doctor, and we sincerely hope to see you on another occasion in the future.
Thank you.
We now invite everyone to proceed to the laboratory on the second floor for our next time to the